Hello and welcome, my dear scale modelers, to my small hobby YouTube channel. My name is Tomo, and today we're going to be taking a look at some figures and busts. I hope you guys are having a very good Sunday. Here in Slovenia, it's currently raining. Well, it's gonna be raining. I'm recording this a little bit earlier, so you know, time travel and all that. But anyway, in today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at some busts and figures in various scales. When I say various scales, it's basically just 16 and 10 scale. So just 2 scales. So what kind of figures are we talking about? We are talking about life miniature figures like these. These are absolutely wonderful, wonderful figures, as you will see in just a moment. A quick disclaimer, I am not a professional figure painter, and actually I have never ever painted any sort of figure whatsoever. I've seen lots of them in scale modeling shows, but I've never ever even opened a box until today. I'm really excited because these things are fantastic. So if you're a scale model figure painter, this video is for you. Down in the comment section, you will be able to see timestamps for the various starts of figures and busts that are actually in this video. So if you want to see just a specific figure or bust, then you can just kind of skip ahead. But if you want to binge watch the whole thing, well, go right ahead. I made it for you. Life miniature figures are from Korea, like mentioned before. They are in 1/16th and 1/10th scale, and boy oh boy are they detailed, and I mean really fantastically detailed. The company sure does employ very, very talented artists that faithfully recreate their subject in the most minute details. We're talking about soggy skin, like veins in the arms, creases in the fabric, the zip tie, even the little elements that make up the zip tie are seen. It is absolutely fantastic. Like all the reviews that I'm doing so far, I'll be using a macro lens to take you really up and close. The only thing that I would like to apologize in advance is the lighting, because my lighting is still kind of amateurish, so I'm kind of saving up to get proper studio lights and you know, so that the videos are going to be even more quality. So now you're wondering, what about the price? Well, these premium models do have a premium price. A lot of them are well over 50 euros, some reaching as high as 70, which is pretty pricey. But what you get for that price is, I think, worth the money if you are into this whole figure painting stuff. Also, not all the figures are equal. Some of them are much more complex than others. And by complexity, I mean parts. Yes, you have to assemble some of these figures together. Some, like this Rommel bust, is pretty straightforward. You have a torso, a head, and a hat. Others, like this little soldier, are much more complex in their assembly. But still, it's not the assembly portion that makes up the model, but it's the painting which is actually what gives it life. All these figures and busts are absolute masterpieces, and even if you leave them unpainted, they are just marvelous to look at because of all the minute details, and they're really good. But like always, you didn't come to this channel to see this mug. You want to see this stuff. So I suggest we just jump on in the boxes and see what's what. And we'll kick off this video with Marilyn Monroe, one of the most iconic figures in the popular 20th century. Love her or hate her, she has made a mark on this world and unfortunately died prematurely. Well, that's life. Anyway, this figure is beautiful. It only has 3 parts: the head, the torso, and the stick. The stick is basically there to hold the bust up whilst you are handling it. You will also notice that there is a little notch on every single piece. That is basically the leftover process of the mold, which you need to take care of before painting. You may have noticed on the side of the box there was a little picture of markings on their jackets. Those are there for reference because you need to paint them by hand, or if you're cheeky, you can make your own decals and then, you know, print them on decal sheet of paper, and you make your life much more easier. This very cool bust is a limited copy. Only 300 will ever be made, and this is the number 294. Yes, it is a generic sniper lady, but it's beautiful. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Anyway, This is one of the more complex busts in the series, and it requires you to build a gun as well as the usual parts of the body. All the boxes that you see me casually opening here on camera are actually in clear plastic, so when you open the box up for the first time, you get a nice whiff of fresh resin parts, which kind of does tickle the nostrils a little bit. And just like every single bust and figure that we're going to be seeing today, this one is absolutely fantastic. I mean, let the camera speak the words that I cannot. And we are sticking with the World War II theme. This time we're taking a look at Montgomery Monte, one of the Allied leaders or supreme Allied leaders in the World War II. Here on the side of the box you see the figure that it's painted and how the medals are supposed to look, so you have some reference. The bust is very simple. It only contains head, hat, and the upper portion of the torso. On the German side, we have a KIng Tiger Commander from Hungary, late war, 1944. I do believe this is a generic soldier from that era, a tank commander that has a headset which you have to assemble from resin parts provided in the kit. You also get a copper wire, which is basically the wire that connects the headset, which is pretty self-explanatory. Like all the other busts, it is fantastic and their detail is just stupidly good. Well, this is a rather dark figure from German history. Joachim Peiper, born 30th January 1915 and died 14th of July 1976. He was an SS Obersturmbannführer and convicted war criminal who was responsible for the 1944 Malady massacre of American prisoners of war. Yikes. During World War II in Europe, he served as a personal adjutant to Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, between September 1939 and September/October 1941, and thereafter as an Waffen-SS commander. So basically, he was the guy that you didn't really want to have for dinner. Yeah. And here he is, faithfully recreated. Well, that's a little bit of controversial. It's like building a figure of Hitler. Well, shiver me timbers, it's a Sea Wolf, the generic U-boat World War II commander with long binoculars. It's a very simple model. Well, a bust. I keep saying model, I don't know why, but it's a bust, a very simple bust consisting of a upper torso, the head, and of course the binoculars. At least this one is not controversial, so yay! And we're switching up to Mother Russia this time. We're gonna take a look at a Red Army infantryman, a generic infantryman kissing a cross, which is absolutely fantastic. On the box art, it is one of the more complex busts that requires of you to build it up a little bit. So you have to assemble this gun, well, a machine gun, as well as the hands that are kissing the cross. And the wire is there to make the loop around the cross, or the string that the cross is attached to. I got lost a little there, sorry. But anyway, it is one of the more complex ones, and if you paint it just like on the box art, it will actually look like he's crying. Well, tears in his eyes, but you know, that's I guess the point of the suffering, of the emotional investment that this soldier is going to have to go through in order to survive this horrendous war. So yeah, a wonderful model indeed. Well, now we're gonna go to America. Duglas MacArthur, yeah, a supreme Allied commander with a big-ass pipe in his mouth. A very iconic figure from the 28th century and World War II especially. His life story is also very interesting. So if you want to check him out or check his story out, I would highly recommend YouTube channel Biographics. Simon Whistler does an excellent job at explaining his life, and I think you will enjoy that as well. But as for this model, it is absolutely fantastic, very detailed to the very minute detail actually. All the creases in the jacket and on the facial expression, I mean, it's just boom. What I find pretty cool in this particular instance is that you actually have the ability to download a PDF file from Life Miniature website, which gives you a detailed instruction how to paint the figures, which is absolutely fantastic. Switching wars a little bit, this time we're gonna go to Vietnam 1971, a generic photojournalist, I guess. This again is a more complex bust because you have to assemble the cameras, not only the two cameras on front but also the third camera that is on his side. That is why you get some copper wires so you can fashion them in little loops that will eventually go onto the side camera and then kind of simulate the attachment points for the strap that goes around the camera and around his shoulder. It's depicted in the box art so you can see what you have to do. And just like with other models, or again, keep saying models, busts, other busts, it is fantastic. I mean, just look at the sideburns on this little rather handsome photojournalist, journalist, God. Here are the lenses for the cameras and the wire for the camera. You see on the up corner we have to make those straps, and the third camera that is on his right shoulder. Che Guevara and Rommel the Desert Fox. First, Che. Well, this is the most simplest bust that you can actually buy. It consists of only two parts, the bust and the hand that goes on his, well, torso, upper torso. And it's basically just a done deal. You just have to glue it in place and that's basically it. And if you're new to painting figures, you can just visit Life Miniature Models and download a free tutorial guide on how to paint the figures, which is absolutely fantastic. Und now the Desert Fox, Rommel. Here again, you can see tutorial. You can download tutorial for painting the bust. It is a simple bust consisting of a upper torso, a head and hat, and of course the goggles that go on the head. If you are interested in Rommel's life story, I would highly recommend that you visit Biographics on YouTube. Simon Whistler has a beautiful biographic on this particular general, and just like MacArthur, you can learn all about his life. And here are the two figures, Max and War Daddy. And the first is Max Wünsche. Max Wünsche, born 20th of April 1914 and died in 1995, was an SS Standenführer colonel in the Waffen-SS during World War II, who was awarded the Knight's Cross with oak leaves. So quite a highly decorated officer, I would say. In June 1943, Wünsche was transferred to a new division forming in France, the 12th SS Panzer Division Hitlerjugend, to take command of the 12th SS Panzer Regiment. On June 6, 1944, the Allies landed in Normandy, Operation Overlord, and the division was committed to action on the 7th of June. The division was later trapped in the Falaise Pocket, where on the night of the 20th August, Wünsche escaped on foot. He was wounded and taken prisoner by the British soldiers. Max spent the rest of the war as prisoner of war in the Camp 165 at Caithness, Scotland, in a special camp for high-ranking German officers. In 1948, Wünsche was released and returned to Germany. The very last life miniature figure is called War Daddy, and it depicts Brad Pitt. Yes, Pitt of Brad! Bad Pitt. Brad Pitt, yes, as seen as a tank commander in the war movie Fury. Yeah, a very good movie. If you want to watch it, go watch it. It's good. I would recommend it. It is an absolute joy. It is a little bit of a Star Wars-y finish, and Mr. Pitt dies at the end, spoiler alert, but it has a great ensemble cast and it's really good, so I would recommend it if you are a World War II buffin. As for the model, let the camera and close-up shots speak for themselves. Well, I see you made it to the end of this video. Well, congratulations. Why don't you pour yourself a cup of coffee and give it a little like, maybe even leave a comment, or, you know, share. Sharing is caring. Anyway, thank you so very much for watching. If you have been, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.